just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 249. Mike Biseglia alongside Alex Bedesowitz. The Brooklyn Nets losers to the Detroit Pistons. Nets
Losers.
Eight active on the roster. They get another L. We're recording this right now. Looks like the Blazers are winning. It means the Nets will move to the 6th spot in the tank. While the Knicks get a win, much needed. They snap their 3-game losing streak. They're home. They play a bad team. What do you know? They win. They beat the Toronto Raptors and snap the 3-game losing streak. We'll talk about the minutes that's going on with the Knicks. It's kind of fun. And then the Nets, Cam Johnson rumors heating up. Where will he be going? We are presented by DraftKings, which I mentioned. But before we get to that and our NBA talk, I just, from Alex and myself and Bad Weather Fans, just going to give our heartfelt condolences and everything just going on with the California wildfires for people out there. Just scary stuff. So thinking of everybody out there out west, just crazy seeing, all the news online, on TV, really scary, really tough. So thinking of everybody there. But we will have some fun here on Bad Weather Fans. As I mentioned, Nets lose, Knicks win. Mikal Bridges goes 1 for 27 from 3 tonight, which actually helped his percentages go up. But before we do that, Alex, NFL playoffs this weekend, Giants and Jets not involved, but there is some good games to bet on and have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, and I echo your sentiments about the California wildfires. Some crazy stuff going on there. Awful things to see, and awful to be a part of, I'm sure. So I hope everybody, can get through that as easy as possible. Not easier said than done, obviously. So, but yeah, and we'll do some Super Bowl picks and some other things, talk Knicks, Nets, everything as we go on. But right now, DraftKings Sportsbook sponsors Bad Weather Fans. And playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? Playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. The Ravens are -9.5 this weekend, hosting the Steelers in a wild card round, super wild card round weekend, I guess you can call it. I don't know what they call it. Who cares? It's a wild card weekend. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code BWF for Bad Weather Fans. That's BWF. That's code BWF for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. And my reading has gotten a lot better. So I read to my son every night. So reading these reads has gotten a lot better. I get a lot of practice now, So, but yeah, anyway, so everybody's favorite debate is back in Knicks fan land. They beat the Raptors tonight pretty easily. They were close early, and Towns had the knee injury, and he was out for the last game, and he came back this one. He's limping early in the first quarter, so everybody hit the ceiling, of course, on Knicks Twitter. And, by the second quarter, he was fine, and you look up, and he's got 20 points on 7 of 9 shooting, and then I forgot what he ended with, but I saw that was the last stat I saw on TV for his numbers, and he went off, and he was fine, and the old debate of the minutes limits has come because, of course, the Knicks lost 3 in a row, and Knicks fans have to panic and overreact to every little thing that happens. This team is really good. They're still going to have losing streaks. They're still going to have their ups and their downs. You cannot overreact to every little thing and then want to blow up the rotation. I am so tired of this debate. I had criticisms for Thibs all throughout his tenure. I'm over it. He's proved to me that he knows what he's doing. He's proved to me that he can get this team to win. Leon Rose has proved to me that he knows what he is doing, and that when I expect him or wanted to make a trade, he's probably not going to do it. And guess what? It probably will work out anyway. So I have learned, Mike, to trust this organization, which is scary because I have never trusted the Knicks. Well, not never. I haven't trusted the Knicks in a long time. And I trust them. I think that if Towns was actually injured tonight, they would not, or not injury, like had an injury where he could hurt himself more by playing,
Sure.
they would not have put him out there. And if Tibbs wanted to put him out there, Leon Rose would have been like, bro, that's not happening. So I just think Knicks fans have to relax. I understand Tibbs has a small rotation of 8 guys and he plays everybody 100 minutes a night. But, you have some injuries. Deuce McBride's been out. It's been hard on the bench. I'm just over it, Mike. I'm over this debate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they would put a player at harm's risk if he was actually seriously hurt. I don't
Right.
think
It's not the
any
playoffs,
organization would do that. I think
Yeah.
that'd be malpractice. People get fired if you're. I mean, it's happened. It's happened.
Sued.
But
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that. I do think the Knicks have a lack of depth problem. I mean, they do. Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges is 1 in minutes in the NBA this year. Josh Hart's 2.
Right.
I do think eventually that stuff taxes players. If you're going to play 40 plus minutes, 42 minutes a night, eventually that hurts you. I mean, look at the Cavs. It's so fascinating, right? Cleveland beats the Thunder tonight. They've won 11 in a row. What are they? 32-4. Donovan, no one plays more than 34 minutes a night. It's crazy just how deep they are and how well they play that. And I'm comparing the Knicks to them because this is going to be their competition when they get to the playoffs potentially.
Right.
This is what they're going to be going up against. I do think that the Knicks do need to have more depth. I would be stunned if this is their roster going into the playoffs. I mean, they're clearly going to make a move. They have to. They have to add somebody. They need something going in there. They're I mean, I said this when they traded for Towns. I was like, I like them more in the playoffs now because they have a top heavy rotation. But in the regular season, it's going to burn them a little bit. If I were Tibbs, I would stretch it out a little bit more, take a couple more losses potentially, and help you out later on when it matters the most. But I'm going to stay even keeled for myself, right? Like when the Knicks were on a 9-game winning streak, 10-game winning streak, whatever the fuck it was, I came on here and I said, Alex, I'm not as invested in the winning because it doesn't matter. It's about what happens in the playoffs. And of course, I enjoyed when they're on this 3-game losing streak. It was great to see. It was fun. I enjoyed it more. But at the same time, I'm not going to overreact to a 3-game losing streak. I'm almost looking at it from my end like it's about what happens in that stretch. I am gaining more and more confidence every day in the Cavs. I do think they are legit. I do think we've seen strides from Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Their depth is great. They have a coach that right now seems to be on a mission. So I would say this for Knicks fans. This is a very different Cavs team than what you saw in the past. They've proven that. They're 32-4. They are not losing basketball games. I'd be very surprised if we saw in the playoffs they went back Cinderella to the pumpkin deal. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think for the Knicks, this is who they are, right? Like they play people a ton of minutes. They don't have a deep bench, and that's the way Tibbs does it. And if that's what you trust, that's what you trust. It hasn't gotten him out of the second round yet with the Knicks. And if it's another year, we're in the second round, and this same shit happens, eventually, just like the Sixers with the process, eventually he's going to be called out because the storybook of, well, the Knicks were so bad for 20 years. At some point, you have to do more than just the second round, and this is their year to do it. And I'm not surprised either. Like Towns misses a game and the Knicks lose. I can tell you this from experience. When you have superstars and you're superstar heavy and you don't have one of them, your team takes a hit. And it's not as easy to win basketball games. And this is not last year's Knicks that had a little more grit, a little more toughness to them. They don't this year. They're more talented. They have more offensive firepower, but it's a little different this year when you lose a guy. Like last year, Knicks could make it happen because of their depth, because of how the chemistry worked. This year, it's a little more about the talent. And when they lose Towns, they're just not as good. And that's not like anything.
Well, yeah, you take one
mind-blowing.
of the best players off of any team, they're not
Yeah,
as good.
and they're more of your traditional team like that,
Right.
right? I mean, like when the Nets don't have Durant in those years, they didn't have Irving, they didn't win. And for the Knicks, if you don't have Towns, if he's not playing,
Yeah.
you're not going to win. So to answer all of that, I would be a little concerned with the minutes thing. It does seem to play an impact when it gets to those later rounds. It just seems to happen. Maybe it's not Tibbs' fault, and we get into the details. Oh, well, this guy slipped here, and there was a banana peel on the court there, and by accident. Like, there's always an excuse for him.
Right.
And, we'll see what happens again.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd support that number one, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the complaining from fans about minutes. I'm tired of it. I'm just over it. It's not going to change. I trust them, et cetera, et cetera. So let's get that out of the way again. But I would be against this way that the Knicks are playing if, number one, every fan of the NBA didn't complain about rest days, didn't complain about minutes limits, didn't complain about how soft NBA players are all the time, including Knicks fans. And now you have a team in the Knicks who are going balls to the wall every game, playing all their starters a lot of minutes, not taking any rest days, no days off. And now you're bitching about that they're playing too much. I know there could be a happy medium, but at the same time, let's go back to the way it was, and players didn't get hurt as much. You know why? Because they played all the fucking time. You look at guys like Latrell Sprewell, who play 80 games a year, 40 minutes a night, and didn't have one major injury his entire career. And I know it was a different game. It was a little slower, but still, he wasn't the kind of guy that was just the back to the basket. He was running up and down the court full speed ahead every play, every possession. I'm just so tired of it. And all of the other teams that do these rest days and minutes limits, they have a ton of injuries too. Look at guys like Zion. Look at the Mavericks without Luka and Kyrie. Look at all of these teams throughout the NBA. If you play fantasy basketball, you're pulling your hair out because every night there's another player injured, there's another player out, another player resting out of nowhere. It kills you if you're in a season-long fantasy basketball league. It is maddening, the amount of injuries and the amount of stupid injuries, it just makes everybody feel like the players are soft. And it's part of the reason why NBA ratings are going down, because players don't take the regular season seriously, so fans decided not to either. It's like, we'll see you in the playoffs. Like you just said, I don't give a shit. The Knicks won 9 in a row. Big deal. I'll see you in the playoffs. See what happens then. It doesn't mean anything to people. It means something to me. It means something to NBA fans that go to games and spend their hard-earned money to go watch the Knicks on TV or in person. And you have to pay a lot of money now to watch these guys on TV if you don't have Optimum. Like, you know what I mean? You want to see your guys play. You don't want to turn on the TV one day and then like Towns and Brunson are resting. I'm not going to even fucking watch. Like, you guys are trying. I'm not going to watch. I'm going to waste my time, and I'm so glad that the Knicks are not that kind of a team. And it just shows how hypocritical some people can be. And if we all had teams like the Knicks that actually tried, the NBA would be back and the NBA would not be falling in ratings. And that's just all of that put together. Stop bitching about minutes.
Yeah, I do think you make a solid point about that ratings could be better if there was more to that, there's just been a lot of, I don't think it's exactly in the minutes, but I'll use like Kawhi Leonard, who's just always out, Paul George, who's always out, and there's just always something that's going on and happening.
Illness,
I do agree with that, but also at the same time, if you get into the weeds of the Knicks and it's like Josh Hart's was playing 46 minutes, and you're like, he shouldn't be playing that many minutes all the time. I mean, it's just.
Well, that's just the playoffs. But yeah, no, I know what you mean.
No, even the regular season, Josh Hart is averaging 42 minutes a game.
Good. Good. Great. I love it. You know what? I love it. Play.
That's fair.
You paid millions and millions of dollars. Play fucking basketball. But come on.
But it's also, you could get taxed doing that, and it's the reality of it.
And
it's just true.
You could twist your knee and pull and tear your ACL when you're playing 20 minutes a night. You know what I mean? Like, it's so silly because the injuries the Knicks have had. And yes, I'll go person by person. Julius Randle had a hard foul. He had his shoulder fall out of his socket. OG Anunoby pulled his hammy when the Pacers were up 2-0 in the second round. He had an elbow injury another time. Brunson broke his hand. Mitchell Robinson got tripped by Joel Embiid. How is that because they were playing too many minutes?
It's not about the injuries. It's about building a core of a rotation where you're not stuck on 6 guys playing 40 plus
8,
minutes.
But yes, I get it. Yeah,
because you're going to need depth. You're going to need other guys.
And I agree with that.
You have to build that rotation, and you can't rely on 42 to 48 minutes from 5 different people. It has to be built. Like today, you look like, to me, I think a positive would be Landry Shamet. What he scored 8-10 points or something, played decent defense.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's more of like, okay, that's something to build on where you feel good about. I would be scared for the Knicks. Not okay. Like, you're right. He played 42 minutes. Josh Hart probably loves it. But at some point, you can't rely on 6 people for a whole season.
Well, I do think that he needs to chill Thibs with playing his starters in blowouts at the end of the game. you're up 20, 30 with 5 minutes left. You could
Doesn't
pull the fucking guys out of the game. Like that's ridiculous. That's like you're now risking it for nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
like that's insane. So that is the one thing with Tibbs is minutes that really irks me. Like you're in the game today with the Raptors and the Knicks. And you know, at the end of the game, all the starters are still in with a few minutes left, and you're winning handily. Like the game's over, you know. And it also goes back to the CBA, the NBA CBA, where it's like you can't have guys at the end of your bench making any money and not be two-way players because then you're going to go over these aprons and then you're going to lose picks and not be able to make trades and things like that. So you can't have the guy at the end of the bench that's the old grizzly vet. Like we talked about this with Jenks the last episode. Like you can't have guys at the end of the bench like a Taj Gibson anymore. Or like think about these old teams. You'd be able to turn like the Knicks in '94. Let's use that. They had Rolando Blackman at the end of the bench, like a former like starter with the Mavericks. He didn't play, but you know what? They could turn to him in a pinch if they really needed to. You know what I mean? So it's just like right now, the Knicks are in the playoffs last year. They're down 4 or 5 players, and they had 4 guys on the bench, like Diakite and all these other guys. Like they couldn't even turn to them because it's like I can't put this guy on the floor, Jacob Toppin.
That's
crazy.
But that's the point about the minutes thing. It's not all about like it's.
But the rosters aren't as deep anymore. That was my point there.
Yeah, but there's other teams that are.
Right.
I mean, the Knicks have to.
Well, they're top heavy with their players.
I think it's not a terrible thing if the Knicks experiment and give more minutes to guys and let them back.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it means a couple more losses possibly during the regular season.
But then seeding is a bad, you know, if you have the season wrapped up, I mean, fine. But like seeding's a big thing. The Knicks have a good home court advantage. Like you don't want to end up in that 4-5 spot again, and then you know you have a terrible matchup. You want to play a team in the play-in or something.
Would you rather be the 4-5 matchup, and in the first round you play the Hawks, and in the second round you play the Cavs, or would you rather be the 3-6, and you know you're the 3 seed, and you know pick who's?
I'd rather be the 2 seed. Go for the 2 seed because they're probably not going to catch the Cavs because the Cavs are wild.
I just don't think you're catching the Cavs and Celtics. I just don't think
the Cavs are gone. I'm not worried about the Celtics. Aren't that far away. They're only 2.5 up on them, 3 up on them. It's not that.
I think the Knicks are going to be the 3 seed.
They only have 2 more wins than the Knicks right now, so it's not really like the Celtics. It's just because they're the champs. That's all you're looking at them like they're not going to catch them. They're not really that far away.
Here's the thing about the Celtics: they haven't played well, and that's their record.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Knicks started off 4-5, and this is their record. So I mean, it is what it is.
I don't think the Knicks. I think the Knicks are going to be the 3 seed. Okay, I could be wrong.
You could be wrong. No, I know, but I'm not saying it's not blasphemous to say like they can't catch the Celtics.
No, it's not impossible. I mean,
they can catch the Celtics.
Four down is like. Would you rather this? Would you rather be the 3 seed and play the? Would you rather be the 4-5 and play the Magic in the first round and then have the Cavs? Or would you rather be the 3-6 and play the Hawks and then go to the Celtics? What would be your pick and your pathway?
Why is that the options? I'd rather be 3-6 and play like the Pacers.
I'm giving you the
Bucks.
fucking options. Those are my options. That's why. This is my questions.
I'd rather face the Cavs as far away as possible. You know what I mean? I don't want to face the Cavs till the Eastern Conference Finals. Hope that somebody picks them off, and then maybe you get an easier ride to the finals. So that's what I would want.
But seeding is
get the 2 seed.
The home court.
Go for the 2 seed. Then you play like a team in the play-in tournament that had to play extra games while you had that week off.
You had the home court advantage versus the Pacers. You didn't win, and I know what the next
they got hurt.
Yeah,
they got hurt.
Right,
and they were up 2-0 before OG got hurt. So like I don't know what that means.
They ran out of gas. They ran out of steam. Everybody got.
They didn't run out of gas. They got hurt.
They got hurt. They ran out of gas, and it was done.
So that's what. So they got hurt because they were played too many minutes in January. That's why he pulled his hamstring in June. Okay,
could be. Could be.
Okay.
That could be.
Okay. So then so you have more of a chance of pulling your hamstring in the playoffs if you play extra minutes in February.
We started this debate when I said I think it would be worth the Knicks. I think it would be more advantageous for them to get more people into the rotation to get played minutes. And if it means 1 or 2 more losses would be more important for their team than not opening up the bench because let's say, for example, something bad happens where OG Anunoby pulls his hamstring. You then can go to somebody that's actually been on the court in the regular season and be like, okay, obviously it's not as good of an option, but this guy has seen the court. Yeah. He's been on the court. So God forbid that does happen later. You have somebody that gives you an option because they have seen minutes, because they have been there, because they have played in spots. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but the guys that they would turn to right now, they have good vets on the bench right now that they can turn to. You know what I mean? They have some guys like that they have Shamit, they have Payne, they have TJ Warren's in the G League. They can't bring him up because it would go over their apron. So they can't bring him up to like March, which is ridiculous. And he's tearing up the G League. Like he is averaging like 25 points a game in the G League. Like he needs to be in the NBA, but like they can't call him up because they can't afford it. Otherwise, they're going to lose. They're going to go over their apron, and their CBA is stupid. Like that's part of why people hate the NBA today. Is it's too confusing. But the Knicks have like good players on their bench with Achua. Sims is okay. He can give you minutes. Payne, Shamit, and McBride has been out, and that's a big deal. Deuce McBride is their sixth man, and he's the guy who gives you scoring on that bench. And even if he's not having one of his big nights where he give you 25, 30, he's giving you 10 points. You know what I mean? Like a night. You know what I'm saying? 10, 12 points a night. And he's a pro. So, I don't know.
Hey, winning a championship's not easy. There's a lot of things that go. It's not easy. There's only one team that does it. There's a lot of factors that happen with it. And, for the Knicks, the debate rages on about the minutes and the rotations, and this is what it's going to be. And like I said, season started, like I like the Knicks to win 53 games or 50 something. Like they're right on track.
Well, if they didn't rest, they'd win 57. That's
everything is going as planned, and it's going to be about what happens in these playoff games. Like look at Mikal today. He was horrible.
Right.
Mikel's bad. He's bad. I mean, like when he is bad.
No, he's awful. Yes.
When he is missing, he is missing. So I said he's going to have his 41-point game. Tonight he has, 7-point game or something?
Right.
It's about what he does. If he goes into the playoffs and he does games like this, I promise you will not care about what happened on that Christmas day. Won't matter.
No, of course not.
It's about what happens when he gets to the big stage. And do you think Mikal Bridges can handle playoff pressure?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he was on a team that went to the finals. He played
I'm
well.
just saying, from you're watching him now, and you've got like a bit better sample size. You think in a big spot, how does he perform?
I think he'll be okay. I'm not. He's not the person that you need to rely upon. You need him to hit that open three, and I think he can in a pressure situation. I think he played this role that he's in now on the Suns when he got them help to get them to the finals a couple years ago. And he had a couple big games, even in the finals. So I do think he can do it. It's one of those things where people look at Mikal Bridges and you just think about his days with the Nets. Like he had a whole career with the Suns, like, you know what I mean? And was very successful. And that's why he was traded for Kevin Durant. Like, you know what I mean? So I think he'll be fine. I think the Knicks have a lot of guys on their team. They're all experienced. Every single player on that team has had deep playoff experience, like literally every single player besides the rookies. And, let's rock, man. I'm excited. So, let's get Deuce back. Let's hopefully get Mitchell Robinson back if he doesn't get traded at that deadline, and call up TJ Warren in March, and let's roll.
Let me read you a tweet today by Sean Marash, and I didn't respond on Twitter earlier, but I wanted to do it here. Why, God?
Because with Sean Marash, it's always something wild. We have some fun. Me and him have some fun debates on Twitter. It gets a little wild.
Feels weird after I said Sean. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Sean,
very important reminder. This was Sean. Very important reminder to Eagle fans. Saquon had a great season. I'm happy for him personally. You made a Super Bowl with Miles Sanders as RB1 with this coach/QB combo. If you do not take the next step and win a Super Bowl with Saquon now, this move was a failure, period. And you said you're twisting yourself into a pretzel over this.
Yeah, he was.
What do you mean by that?
That he's just trying so hard to justify the Giants not having Saquon Barkley, that he's trying to belittle how much of an impact he's had on the Eagles and how their success means nothing. And if they don't win a championship, and that's ridiculous. And I know it's about winning a championship. He has 2,000 yards in the season and everything like that. But this team is different than football teams turn over so much every year. This team is not the same team it was when they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. You know what I mean? So this team is more relied upon a big time running back than Jalen Hurts. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think he's just trying to justify him to himself, or he's trolling, which he does a very good job of. And that's all. Let
me read this tweet again. I'm going to change some of it. I'm curious what you say. Okay.
Okay. As I fix myself.
Very important reminder to Knicks fans. Mikal had a great season. I'm happy for him personally. You made the second round with Dante DiVincenzo as your wing player with the same coach/point guard combo. If you do not take the next step and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals with Mikal, this move was a failure, period. Now, I know a little context because it's only one season, but how would you read that if I said that?
I would say it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous because like there's so many different layers of how you lose in the second round. Let's say you play the Cavs, who have a 67, 68 win team, and you take them to six or you take them to seven, and then you lose in the second round. Is that a failure? You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean, for the beginning of the season, it would be.
but in that moment, you're going to be upset, but you're not going to be like, "Oh my
It,
God, it
I
was a
would
waste."
say,
You know?
I would say it's a failure when you went on multiple platforms and said the Knicks are winning a championship. If they lost in the
Well,
second round, isn't that a failure?
yeah. I mean, it's not a success, but it's not like, "Oh my God, this trade wasn't worth it." You know, it takes time. You know, like look, like you said, look at the Cavs. 2 years ago, the Knicks beat the Cavs in the first round in one of those 4-5 series,
Yeah.
and all Knicks fans were having throwing a parade. Like, see, we didn't need Donovan Mitchell. We didn't need him. We didn't need him. We got better. Even though the deal was to get Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, they didn't. You weren't choosing between the two. Somehow that became the debate, but every Knick fan buried the Cavs and said they stink. We own them. We beat them in the playoffs. Forget them. Now 2 years later, and I said like, yeah, okay, they're not as good as I thought they'd be with Donovan Mitchell that year. Knicks beat them, and I took the L on that. But I also said at the time, a trade is not decided in 1 year, especially with a player like Donovan Mitchell. If he's going to resign, which he will, if he didn't already, did he resign already? I think he
Yeah, he
did.
did.
So if he's going to stay, what I was saying, if he's going to stay, they have years together. All these guys are young. Mobley, everybody's all
Yeah,
young.
yeah.
Garland, like they're going to get it together. They need, and they ended up getting a real coach in Kenny Atkinson who learned his lesson from the Nets, apparently, and knows what he's doing, stepped in there with a plan, and everybody's buying it. And and that's it. So I think the Knicks, yes, I wanted to make the finals. Yes, I think it will be disappointing if they don't get out of the second round. If it'll be a failure if they get to the second round and get swept or something. That would be disgusting. That's a failure. But if they get to the second round and lose to the best team and that maybe eventual champions, in seven or something, then it's upsetting. But is it a failure? I don't know. I have to see how I feel in the moment.
Yeah, no, I just thought I saw that because I do think I agree with you with what you're saying about the long term of things and years after that. But I do think in the moment, right? Like if you're going to trade all those
Mhm.
assets for Mikal Bridges and they don't advance further than they did without him, that there's still more time. But part
Right.
one, the season was not a success. If you
Right.
don't want to call it a failure, fine. But I
No,
mean,
it's
even like
not a
the Eagles,
success.
if they don't, it's not a success. And whatever you want to find that gray area in between, that the kids are
Failure is too
calling,
strong for me. If
and
if it's
uh,
the context that I
I
gave
mean,
you, where
we
they get to the 7 games and then they lose to the cat, like that's like failure. I don't know, but it's if like I said, if they lose and they go out with a whimper in the second round, then that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
That's a failure.
this podcast is also presented apparently tonight by Copium and Alex. No,
Oh yes, yes, yeah,
I've always
sure.
I had two things.
Playoffs?
Well, I booked Jim Mora on
Oh, you
CBS
did?
Sports Radio. One of my finer gets. Yeah, he coached one of my hosts, Brian Jones, when they were on the Saints. That was
Oh,
his coach. So we got
really?
connected, and Mora never did interviews. We had Mora come on the show.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot he was with the Saints. The Saints had a good run with him. I think they got the playoffs maybe in '91 with him. I think
Yeah.
something like that.
All right, Alex, don't do this. We're going to talk some DraftKings. You got the spreads open. I want you to give me two give me a couple games. Or you know what? I actually have a game. I changed my mind. I have a game. I have one I want to go with. Because I'm in an NFC mood. So playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score six. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. I'm a Giants fan. They are not in the playoffs. They had a horrible ending to their season and will draft third. But the Washington Commanders, they are in the playoffs, and they will be going to Tampa Bay. And right now, Tampa Bay is a 3-point favorite. And intrigued to see this game. I think it's two of the teams that nobody really saw coming in being playoff teams. So I'm excited to watch that this weekend. So check it out. New DraftKings customers get $5 to get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the new DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BWF. That's code BWF for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age. Eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkdng.co/audio. The Brooklyn Nets losers against
Can
the
I,
Detroit
before you get into that,
Pistons.
can I just say something funny that I just saw on X while I was browsing while you were reading that
Go
before you
for
get
it.
to the Nets? Somebody took a picture of a Pacers,
I
like you're
saw
at a
that.
game and the
Yes,
scores,
I saw
and
that.
you see,
Yeah.
like if you're at a game, I'm sure everybody listening has been to a game, and you have the point totals, rebounds, assists, and whatever on the scoreboard. And I said the Pacers have done it the lowest possible jersey number total.
Yeah.
Mathurin 00, Halliburton 0, Toppin 1, Nemhard 2, and Bryant 3. I thought
Yeah.
that was hilarious. It's
I
got a
did
million
see that.
follows, a million views. I mean, so I'm sure people have seen it, but
I
it
like
just
I
made me
like
laugh.
people with clever tweets. Like I thought I had a
That is
clever
funny.
tweet. I thought I had a clever tweet and it didn't do anything.
It's always the ones that you think are bangers are not.
I took the NBA
It
I took the NBA
happens to me.
standings,
That's what I'm saying.
took a
Yeah.
screenshot of it, and then used my iPhone and rotated it so it was upside down
Yeah.
and showed this is how I watch the standings because it's like reverse order and the Nets are now 6 or whatever. So I'm
Uh-huh.
like looking up because they're so bad. I was like, I thought that was cute. No, no one fucking. It was just Corey
Zero.
Cantor who's
Yeah, of course. It's always Corey.
replies to the tweet before I even tweeted it. Love
No,
you,
I
Corey.
mean, sometimes I tweet just what's in my head. Like Nick and Nader, our boy Orlando, he goes, "Why did the New York Knicks lose to the Orlando Magic?" And I wrote, "To get to the other side." And
Yeah,
no, nothing. Nobody got it. So I had to DM him. I was like, "Did you not get this?" He's like, "No, I had no idea what you were talking about." So it's like, all right.
funny. I got it.
Anyway, yeah,
Cam
exactly.
Johnson will be traded. But look at the net roster tonight. No Cam Thomas, no Cam Johnson, no D'Angelo Russell, no
No
Daron
cams.
Sharp,
Yeah,
no Ben Simmons.
no bends, no cams. Yeah,
Uh, Not that Ben really matters, but they they didn't have anybody, and the tank is on. They lose to the Pistons. They get Detroit's a better basketball team. That could be a team, maybe the Knicks in the first round. Who knows? And Nets now with the Trailblazers win, Nets move up to 6 in the Tankathon standings. You got to remember too, though, this is not the old lottery.
yep.
It's 14%, 14%, 12%, 11%, 10. So even if the Nets, let's say, finish with the 6th worst record and they get like a 10% chance, 9% chance, you only have it's 14% if you're one. It's not as crazy as it used to be. So let's not get like in a pretzel about all of this. It's good to be bad and they need to be bad and they need to get up there, but it's not what it was. That's how the Hawks won this thing last year. So it's not like they're that good. Okay, they're the 6th worst team in the NBA, and they're getting worse clearly. The other thing too is you look at this Cam Johnson thing. Um, he has played so well that he probably got the Nets a couple more wins. And shout out to Doug Norrie. And he had this point when I was listening to his podcast, Locked on Nets, and it's a really good one. I want to bring it up here. Is okay, Cam Johnson plays really well. He probably wins you a couple more games this year. And that sucks, right? Because you want a couple more win percentages in the lottery. But look at the good news. He's going to produce so much more in return than
Oh
he
yeah.
would have before the season started that the Nets are going to get at least one first round pick, maybe a second. It's going to be a first round pick and another player, a young player that's on a winning team that doesn't get minutes. That's what they're going to get in return. And it's going to work out. So for as much shit as there is because they had a couple more wins earlier in the season, they're going to make a trade and they're going to get somebody back. And there's smoke here because you're seeing all these reports now about the Thunder interested, the Kings interested, the Warriors interested. Cam Johnson is on his way out. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
Yeah, and I think the Thunder are the team you got to target because they have a million picks and
They
they can't
do.
use all of those picks. And the Nets are getting to Thunder territory with all these picks. Like you can't use all these picks But the Nets are still in the collecting picks phase. The Thunder are like, all right, let's cash some of these out.
Yeah.
Let's win a championship. So they might give you two firsts for Cam, and you'll take it. And Doug's right because the look at the Pelicans and the Grizzlies got 1-2 in the draft, got Zion and John Morant, and the Knicks were the worst team in the NBA, and they both of them had over 30 wins. So and that's with the new draft lottery odds, and it's even different. It's even worse now. I think so. I just feel that you're right, and that the Nets should just continue to lose, but also it's okay if they win a couple games here or there. Don't go crazy if you're a Nets fan because you're just going to get yourself miserable. You're just like rooting against the team and rooting against the team. They're not good. They're not going to win a lot of games. If they pull out a win here or there, just enjoy it. It's just
Yeah.
if they lose 10 in a row and they happen to pick off the Knicks or something, just enjoy it. Have fun, smile. Like it doesn't matter. You're not going to catch the Wizards. They're that bad. They rest Poole and Brogdon every game. My fantasy team is getting crushed by these Wizards, So,
Yeah, I bet.
but they're too good to drop. But anyway, it's just don't worry about it, Nets fans. Trust me, I've been through this a couple times as a Knicks fan. You're tanking. Just yes, you need to secure as low as possible, but it's okay if they win a game here and there.
All right, I'm gonna do this. This might look like dog shit on the video side of things, but I want to try it. All right, you see my screen, Alex?
Yes, I do.
All right, if you're watching this on the YouTube video, we're gonna do a sim lottery live here. We'll do one of these
Okay.
every night, maybe. I don't know how this will look
Yeah,
on the
that'd be
video. It
fun.
might be trash. But you ready? We're gonna do a
Yeah.
sim lottery. So if you're looking at this now, right now, the Nets are the sixth worst record in the NBA. So
One
they have
sim. Everybody knows the rules. One sim. One
sim.
bite.
37.2% chance for top four, and then 9% for top one.
So
look
read
what
it
I'm
for the
saying,
people who are listening.
Look at Washington's 14%.
So yeah, so the top six, the Knicks are six. So it's Washington, New Orleans, Toronto, Charlotte, Utah, and then Brooklyn. So go ahead, sit him.
So here we go. Here's the sim lottery. This will be and how I'm going to do this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see it right away. If it's on the podcast version, I'm going to read it out and you won't know. Is that okay?
Yes, that's
I
fine.
have to make the Nets interesting. I'm thinking this might be the only way to do it. Here we go.
Okay, go. Oof.
Don't give shit away. With the 14th pick goes to the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks will be giving up their pick to the San Antonio Spurs, part of a trade. I have no idea. Number 13, San Antonio Spurs. 12, the Golden State Warriors. 11 goes to the Sacramento Kings. 10, the Chicago Bulls.
Commercial
The
break.
9th pick goes to Phoenix, but will be moved to Houston. I do know that trade. That was the Kevin Durant trade, which went to the Nets, that went back to Houston when the Nets received their picks back. The 8th pick goes from we have an advertisement. Sorry, Expedia. I had to book a flight the other day. Goes from the 76ers to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like crazy. The Thunder of the fucking 8th pick in the draft. The 7th pick goes to the Portland Trailblazers. The 6th pick goes to the Utah Jazz. That means a team has moved up. That means the Nets have moved up. Number 5, the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans have dropped 3.
Let's take a commercial break. Back after this. Mavis discount time. Okay, yeah, right. Go ahead.
Bad Weather Fans promo code. Why don't we use our own, Alex?
Oh yeah, DraftKings. Yes.
With the 4th pick in the NBA draft, it goes to the Brooklyn Nets. So the Nets move up from 6 to 4. They'll be picking 4th. Now the top 3. Who cares now? Washington, Toronto, and Charlotte. That is your Bad Weather Fans Nets sim of the night.
All right.
I do think we should do one of those.
Yeah, that's fun. I
Show.
mean, Charlotte getting Cooper Flag would be fun with LaMelo, but how about LaMelo getting the most votes in NBA All-Star, which is crazy when you think about it because the Hornets stink, but then when you look at his social media accounts, the guy has like 10 million followers.
And how he plays, throwing it off the backboard.
Yeah,
and,
like
all that stuff.
Huge with kids and like internationally played overseas. You know what I mean? Like he's a mega global star. So when you look at it that way, you see where the votes come from.
Speaking of,
and he's
plays,
awesome. Yeah,
that Cooper Flag dunk that he had
yeah.
the other night was just like I watched it 25 times.
Like, oh my god, please! I've been there, man, with the Zion stuff. I knew every Zion clip. I had watched every YouTube video of Zion. The block in the corner where he like jumped out of the gym, the dunks, like
shoe exploded,
the shoe explosion. Landry Shamit's shoe exploded, by the way, tonight too.
It's scary, but
because he played too many minutes. That's why, if he didn't play all those
I'm over that topic. You see that with you see that with those dunks, and you're just like, oh fuck,
Yeah, no, I get
come
it. And
on,
Zion,
man.
how about Zion back with the 360 dunk?
He looked good too.
Yeah. And then he's off the second. They brought him back on a back to back for some reason. They should have just played him the second night of the back to back and not the first one. I don't understand that, but that's okay. Yeah, he looked awesome. And a third fantasy team mention of the night, I traded for Zion about 2 months ago. Going, my friend Corey was over it, and I was like, I'll take him, and just put him on my IR spot, and now he's back.
Who
So let's
do
go.
you who do you like in the AFC and the NFC to represent in the Super Bowl?
So I'm going with, I think it's Lamar Jackson's year. I think he's getting to the Super Bowl. I think it's gonna be tough with the Chiefs, obviously, but I think winning three Super Bowls in a row is very difficult. It's never been done before. So obviously that's going to be a very, very tall task. I know the Chiefs are, 15-2 this year, but still, but I think it's Lamar Jackson's going to take it in the AFC. I almost said the East in the AFC, and I think, hmm, who is in the NFC? Hmm, put me on the spot. No, I'm kidding. I think I'm gonna go Eagles. I can't see Sam Darnold. Forget about the Rams. The Bucks, no way. Commanders, they're, Jaden, what's his face? He's
Rookie
too young.
quarterback
Yeah. Packers, if they could pick off the Eagles in the first round, they can go on a run, I think.
picked off Dallas last year.
Yeah. So
Remember that?
I'm gonna go Eagles, Ravens. That's my pick.
Every year you and I have done this, and every year you're like, I'm not picking the Chiefs this year, and I go, well, I am,
I
Alex,
picked the
because
Chiefs last year.
no, you
I,
didn't.
I bet on them. I bet
Oh,
on
you
them.
did.
I have the
Okay.
bet receipt in DraftKings to show you to prove it. I bet, and I won a lot
Okay.
of money on them in
Okay.
the Super Bowl.
All right. I'll
Maybe I
take
didn't
that.
bet on them
Maybe it was the
this
regular.
on the
It was before
show.
the season started. You didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
maybe
what
not.
it was. But I'm going to take the Chiefs and I'll take the Lions. At some point, all I think the Chiefs Lions would just be the most compelling storylines to have a team in the Chiefs that had become, basically the Chicago Bulls in the
Yeah.
NFL of our lifetime, and a team in Detroit where if you're a Lions fan, like there's a lot of fan bases that deserve championships in football. I'll put the Jets fans there. I'll put the Lions fans there. Like they are. I would love to see a Lions Chiefs Super Bowl. I think it would just be so interesting to see
Lions
David versus
Chiefs.
Goliath. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really not David because the Lions are stacked. It's just their
No.
history.
But
Yeah,
there's
it's
the
just their
history of
history.
it. No,
Yeah.
the Lions are
Yeah.
great. They're obviously well coached, and
Yeah, yeah, no, I know, I know. It's just funny.
but it would
I'm
just be that like little, it's like
yeah.
I mean, they're the Lions who have never been like it's their
Fuck them.
due.
No, I'm just
I
kidding.
know because you're a Jet fan and it gets you jealous. I get it.
Yeah, oh, 100%. I've seen all of these teams win Super Bowls in my lifetime that I never thought I'd see win, like the Buccaneers and, the Colts and the Patriots became a dynasty. Like growing up in the 90s, these teams were garbage, like the worst teams possible. You know what I mean? And I'm just tired of that, man. I don't know. I I don't know. We'll see. If it gets to the Super Bowl and the Lions are in the Super Bowl and we'll see who they're playing, maybe I'll pull for them. But right now, I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Bad Weather Fans, episode 249. Those are our Super Bowl
Who
predictions.
do you want to be the Jets coach? Who do you think should be the Jets coach? Quick,
I have
put you
no
on the
idea.
spot.
I mean, who do you want? Who care? I mean, like,
You're a Giants fan, so that's why I was curious what you think.
I just don't.
I'll
It's
tell
going to
you who
be
I want in a
names.
second.
It's all the names are just okay. Like,
Yeah.
how am I going to really sit there and be like, oh, that's a good NFL coach? I have no idea. I mean, the only guy I can really tell you about is Rex,
Yeah.
based
You
on just
know,
him being there for such a long period of time and having success.
I forgot who posted this on Twitter. It might have been our producer when we did the show at WFA and Rami Lavi. He, whoever it was, I think it was him. I'll give him the credit. That he posted like, why did the Jets hire this firm run by Mike Tannenbaum to help them hire a GM and coach if they're just going to interview every single person available anyway?
Right.
Why do we need somebody to tell us, hey, interview everybody?
Yeah.
I get you need it for, you definitely need it for the GM because who the hell knows who's a good GM? Like you definitely need somebody with experience for that. For a coach, I feel like if you're an owner, you got to know who's out there as coaches. That's just bad business. But for me personally, there's three guys that I want. There's Rex Ryan because he's gonna walk in the room and it's gonna be awesome. You know what I mean? And it's one of those guys. Then there's Brian Flores, who's the coach that has experience and failed and is a great tree. He's from Brooklyn. He knows the market. So like I think he's somebody that can be a good fit. He'll demand respect as well.
And Tom
The third
Thibodeau.
one, yeah, and then Tom Thibodeau, yes, and then David Fizdale. No, then the third one will be Aaron Glenn for me, and that's because of he's going against my rule where I'm tired of the first time head coach defensive coordinator thing. But the lines are awesome. Number one. Number two, he's an all-time Jet. Drafted by the Jets, played there almost 10 years, was a part of that Parcells team in 98 that went 12-4 at AFC Championship game. He was on the Jets with Kotite when they were terrible. And then he was there from the transformation from the old owner, from Leon Hess to Parcells to Woody Johnson. Also from there, from Kotite to Parcells when they became shit to be great. He knows the market. It's a quote unquote his dream job. That's what everybody's been saying. That's a guy I would love because of that as well. And I think he would command a locker room as well. So there's my answers. The Rex Ryan and Aaron Glenn are my two top guys because probably just for sentimental reasons in general because they're the two best runs in my lifetime, in my Jets lifetime. The Parcells years and then the Rex years are really that. So maybe I'm being a little biased, but Brian Flores.
Maybe you'll have Aaron Rodgers be your coach and quarterback.
Ugh,
Maybe you can do both.
yuck, yuck. Send them to the moon.
Ugh, wow.
Yeah.
You were right about wanting Lamar.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want
That would have been
but
better.
I don't know if it was realistic. I think he was just using
I don't think it
Yeah.
was either.
Yeah, he was just negotiating to get his contract.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't want Aaron Rodgers, but I also bought in because he was exciting me with the hard knocks and everything. But we'll never
Easy
know
to
what
get
would have happened
sucked
if he
in.
didn't tear his Achilles. If he didn't tear his Achilles, we'll never know what could have happened. This year was a joke, but like last year
Yeah.
could have been something special.
Could've.
You know, we'll never know.
You won't.
We won't.
Bad Weather Fans, episode 249. Use promo code BWF on DraftKings. Check us out on YouTube. See some of our former videos, older content, and some great interviews we've had in the past. We'll have episode 250. Holy cow. Coming up now. Holy cow. What am I from?
250. Yeah.
Like, 250. Coming up next week. So that'll be cool as well. Knicks winners, they get the victory versus the Toronto Raptors. Snap their 3-game losing streak. While the Brooklyn Nets lose to the Pistons, they're on a 3-game losing streak. Move up to 6 in the lottery sim and finish with the 4th pick, according to the
Big
Bad
game
Weather
Friday.
Fan. Yes.
OKC at the Garden.
Who lost?
Yeah. Yeah, who just lost.
Lost
So,
to the Cavs.
oh
You
boy.
like that or don't like that?
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I figured as much.
I didn't
Loser.
love it before because the Knicks were on a 9-game winning streak where they're really going to win 10 going into OKC when they were on a roll also. I know they won
They had a
12
lead
at the
at the
time.
half.
They did. They they blew that game, but the refs had some questionable calls in that one. Hartenstein was standing out of bounds when he saved the ball. Like literally, that's not like that was he was out of bounds.
Come on,
but
Knicks
it's
fans.
okay.
We can be better than this. Let's not
He was out of
blame the
bounds.
refs.
It's all right. I
Let's
mean, the
not blame
refs blew some calls. They did, but the Knicks also didn't get the timely rebounds. They didn't make any defensive stops. They gave up a lot of open threes. That's not the refs' fault, but there were a couple of questionable
Could have
calls.
been.
That's for
Honestly,
sure.
I think it was. I think
Yeah.
that was the ref's fault. Tim Donaghy. Yes. Okay. All right. Bad Weather Fans. Big game Friday. Knicks. Thunder. That should be fun. Nets. I don't know. They're on the Nets are going on a West Coast trip. They have
Doesn't
huge
matter.
games. They have huge games coming up.
On the West.
They got the Blazers in Utah for Tankathon.
Oh, and those games start at 10:30. You're not going to stay up for those. Don't do it to yourself.
Not the 10:30 game. I
I'm sure.
can barely stay up till 9:15.
If there's like a 9:30 game, I'm sure you'll watch most of it. But a 10:30 game for the Nets, a tanking Nets, man, just go to sleep.
Yeah,
just do it
I could
yourself.
try to think of something fun.
If you
with
happen
that.
to wake up and you can't sleep, I mean, you can pop it on your phone or something. But like,
I'll think of a good idea with that. Maybe some content that could be like me in my bed.
3 o'clock in the morning, like you're doing like an instant reaction of the Nets losing to the Jazz.
under
2
under
o'clock.
my blanket. You can't hear me.
I don't wake anybody up, but the Nets just lost to Utah. This is bad.
And your wife
all right.
smacks you in the face, like waking her up.
Yeah.
I had to do an instant reaction. Okay, let's end this podcast. What are we
Yeah.
doing? Yeah, okay.
Bad Weather Fans. See y'all later.
Bye.